A non-linear spring is compressed various distances x, and the force F required to compress it is measured for each distance. The data are shown in the table below, a table of x versus F. Assume the magnitude of the force applied by the spring is of the form f of x equals ax squared. So a couple of important things to note. It is a non-linear spring, which they emphasize right here. So we can't use any Hooke's law stuff. No f equals minus kx, no potential energy equal half kx squared. So keep that in mind. And then part A says, what quantities should be graphed in order to yield a straight line whose slope could be used to calculate a numerical value for A. So here we have f versus x is x squared, right? F is proportional to x squared. So I could plot f versus x squared, and I think that would be the easiest. Or you could conceivably plot root of f versus x. Your choice either way. I'm going to go with f versus x squared. In so doing, then I know that when I plot f on this graph and x squared on that graph, then I have that f equals ax squared. So I'm going to say let some new x equal old x squared. Then I have that f equals a times new x, which is a line that should pass through the origin. So it satisfies this part, a line whose slope could be used. All right, in fact, the slope of that line would just be a, which would be nice. So let's fill in those data points. Part B, calculate values for any of the quantities given in A that are not given in the data, and record those values in the table above. Label the top of the column, including units. And I got a little ahead of myself, but that's what we have here, where we just square the x value and get x squared. And we get a couple points just for doing that. Part C. On the axes below, plot the quantities you have indicated in A. Label the axes with the variables and appropriate numbers to indicate the scale. So, again, things to stress. Label the axes. Use both the variables and the numbers to indicate the scale. So we've got a lot of things going on there, even though it's not too bad. But for us, it's going to be straightforward. It's going to be, how do we check the scale to be right? Well, let's do it kind of simplistically, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 available marks, tick marks. We need to go up to 106, which is a little frustrating. So I'm going to do 10 per tick so that we have something like 10, 30, 50, 70. This is 100, let's put 90. And of course this is force in units of newtons. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as maybe 7 or 6, and we have to go out to 0.62. So I'm going to call that here I'm going to call this 0.07, 0.06, 0.04, 0.02, 0, and this is in x squared or units of meters squared. And then we just need to make the plot. All right, so that's our data. It looks believably linear, which is nice. So in principle, what I should do is draw a line. Freehanding a line on this is not easy, but something like that. That's not great. And then I would, to get a, since I have that f is a times x squared, the slope of this thing right here, any slope I pick, would be a. On the other hand, I'm going to actually do it on the TI calculator and use linear regression just to get a more exact. According to the TI calculator, f is 1699 times x squared plus minus 0.135. This would be in newtons, and this would be in newtons per meter square. A couple of important things. Not a problem. The fact that b is non-zero, even though we expect it to be 0, not a problem. That's clearly data influenced. Our average values look to be around 50-ish, and this is 0.13, so that's like 0.2%. So that's perfectly acceptable. That means that our value of a is 1699 newtons per meter square. By say figs, this should almost certainly come out to be 1.7 times times 10 to the 3 newtons per meter square. It's unclear from the rubric whether they cared about sig figs on that, but certainly something like that would be better to say. The spring is then placed horizontally on the floor. One end of the spring is fixed to a wall. A cart of mass half a kilogram moves on the floor with negligible friction and collides head-on with the free end of the spring, compressing a maximum distance of 0.10 meters. Part E, calculate the work done by the cart in compressing the spring 0.10 meters from its equilibrium length. So here we're going to use the idea that the work is the integral of f dx. So we can say it's the integral from 0 to our final x of ax squared dx, which is a over 3x cubed from 0 to the final position, which is just 1/3 a times the final position cubed, 1/3 times our 1.7 times 10 to the 3 newtons per meter squared times 0.10 meters cubed, which turns out to be 0.57 joules. In principle, instead of doing the integral, you could have made a plot of f versus x and then taken the area under it, but that seems like a lot of extra work. Notice that the f versus x squared curve does not give you any easy way of getting an integral directly. Part F, calculate the speed of the cart just before it strikes the spring. So we'll just use the work energy theorem that the work done is the change in the kinetic energy. So we have minus 0.57 joules equals 0 minus a half k v initial squared. Why the minus is because this is the work done on the cart, which is opposite to the work done on the spring. Now it's just plug and chug. V0 is 2 times 0.57 joules over a half kilogram square rooted, which apparently comes out to be 1.5 meters per second.